Hey guys, welcome to a recap of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 3, A Star is Reborn. Guys, do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you like recaps of The Real Housewives of Atlanta and other housewife shows. And I do other shows too as well, so check out my channel. So let's get into this episode. First, we open up this episode in Chateau Charest, y'all. Chateau Charest has come a long way and with good timing. Can you imagine if it was still under construction during the times that we're in right now? Crazy, 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 crazy. So Sheree, she is hosting a baby brunch, not a baby like a baby brunch, but a brunch with two guests. I think that Sheree is such a great host. She makes sure that there's food, that her guests are fed, and of course to be mildly entertained by whatever foolishness she has with Martell. So her guests for this brunch are Sanya and Marlo. So, not much is going to be covered. It was really a dry scene. I'm like, they're just talking about the same thing over and over and over again. We're just over it. I'm like, let's get into something real. So Sanya, she arrives first to the brunch, and she goes and talks to Sheree about how crazy BravoCon was and how they have so much to catch up on. Of course, Marlo, she comes in and she is ready to eat and sip on some drinks. So the girls, they talk about how wild BravoCon was. The mess of it all. Like, first thing up first, Mama Joyce, that was the only thing that made that scene pop, is talking about Candy's mom. Like, that scene, they talk about how Mama Joyce was at BravoCon and she was just embarrassing Todd and Candy's relationship. And I feel bad to say that because we know how, Candy feels about her mom. Don't talk about her mom, don't talk about her man, and don't come in between her food and people that she loves, okay? So that issue with Mama Joyce was so controversial, and it's just that I'm so shocked that Mama Joyce still has so much negative things to say about Todd. Todd has been in this family for quite some time. He proved himself. They have kids together, so I don't understand where this beef comes about towards Todd. I do feel like it's a little bit of a gimmick because that's the theme that they have on this show. That's why people are interested to know what Mama Joyce think, because they know that she's going to say some mess. So of course she's going to give what the people want, and if the people want mess, she's going to give a mess. So I thought that was a little bit interesting, given that we kind of break the fourth wall and get to see the ladies experience BravoCon in their perspective. We we i would just want to remind you guys that BravoCon was filmed after, no, BravoCon happened after Atlanta's reunion. So, the girls, they're feeling some type of way with each other, but this is a work event pretty much. So they have to do what they're supposed to do. So Sanya said on the heels of coming off the reunion, she was not at a great place with Drew. Her and Drew at the reunion was doing too much. Drew was hair flipping her hair over to Sanya. And of course, anyone will be mad over that. I mean, we've seen girls get mad and upset and start dragging each other in the reunion. So Sanya, she was not playing no games with Drew. So it was interesting to hear that she said that Drew sent out a text pretty much sending an olive branch, to work on things. But surprisingly for Sanya, she was not prepared. She was not ready to hear Drew do all this extra stuff, extra mess at BravoCon, being negative towards Sanya. And again, I do feel like the ladies are just playing up their part. They come to put on the show, and if people want to see drama, they're going to pretty much take what they can get to give a little life into the situation, so everyone is excited to see them. So I felt like it wasn't too deep of a situation, but I think it's more on the grounds of respect, because off camera Senya is building a friendship, or trying to forge a friendship with Drew. But Drew, when the camera is on, Drew knows how to play it up and kind of show a different face to her, to Senya. So I get it, But wow, a whole scene dedicated to Candy, BravoCon, and not anything really about these girls. Like, we didn't get much from Marlo. We didn't get much from Sanya. You know, she focused on BravoCon. And with Sheree, she switched the conversation and brought up the fact that she had a talk with Kenya about the Martell situation. And ultimately, Sheree said the same thing she said previous episode, that she wants people to respect her situation moving forward. And, you know, I was a little bit turned off at the end of this conversation because, you know, Marlo said at first she didn't really support Martell given what he's like on his show. I don't watch that show. But given how he is on that show, Sheree says that, you know, he's a good guy, wouldn't be with someone that, you know, was arrogant or a jerk. And Marlo's giving her support, saying, yeah, at first I didn't like Martell, but now, you know, I need him to set me up with a man. And I'm like, based on what? Based on what effort? And pretty much Sheree says that, you know, Martell, he shows up, but isn't he supposed to show up? I feel like the bar is so low. And Sheree looks way too good for the bar being so low. But then we have to remember last season, Tyrone stood up Sheree, and everyone was putting doubt on their relationship. So to be on a public platform and to have someone to show up and get, you know, all this feedback, all these remarks, you know, that should say something for him. But come on, like, please, 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 please. I was not into it. I was not into the situation. This scene was only interesting because we got a little feedback or a little bit of an opener to the situation with Candy and Todd and her mama. Okay, so we move over to a new scene with Drew and Ralph, and they are going rock climbing, and it's a date. I thought, okay, that's fun. It's active. You know, they like to be active or show they have like physical physique and muscles and they want to showcase, you know, they can still do what they do. But, you know, they play off to make it seem like they're okay. And we know this information that they're not okay. They're going through a divorce. So to watch how everything, you know, lead up to that point, it's a little bit awkward. It's a little bit awkward for me because I feel like they're trying to make face and show that their relationship is good. They're working on their relationship. Their struggles, they're working on it. But it seemed a little bit of a game. It seemed like they were playing charades because to me, it looked like the both of them, they looked like they were on their first date. They had the nerves, but they know each other. Like it was so weird, you know. Then they get into a conversation and how Drew wants to focus on her music and her career as opposed to being just a housewife. And that, you know, Ralph, he's okay with that. He's actually pushing for her to be more focused on her career. And on top of that, he said this interesting dynamic that they have is that Ike and Tina, and I'm like, no, you don't. No, you guys don't. And you know, to bring a little humor or to cover up, I feel like Drew, she does this thing where if he said Ike and Tina, she said, "Oh no, we're like more like Beyonce and Jay Z, trying to make themselves like a iconic couple or the power couple." So I see right through it. You see how Drew kind of protects this relationship, at least the image of it, as you know, as she should. She should do that. But for us as the viewer, you're not keeping it real and you're on a reality show. If you guys are having issues, it probably would be best for you guys not to be on this show. I think, you know, we've seen time and time again, you know, people who had issues already before the show come onto the show and those issues are just highlighted and emphasized. So maybe it may not be best for Drew to be on this show, but you know, you can't pass up a check if you need the check. Okay, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Okay, so the date kind of turned into a work meeting because Drew, she brings up how, you know, she has a new song that's out and it got like 30,000 saves or plays. And, you know, Ralph kind of knocked it down and said, oh, that's not enough. That's very little. And she's actually happy that he says that because she wants to promote and run with this song to make it a hit so she could perform it on BravoCon. So she was pretty much telling Ralph how they need to do some things, you know, to make that happen. But then we learned that, you know, Drew, she wants to focus on music, but Ralph, he wants to focus on his own project. So it's like two people with a rope one is going one way and the other one's going the other way, and it's just is not a recipe for success. And they want to be the power couple as they should desire to be, at least for them in their eyes. But it's not working, and we see right through it. We see it all happening. So, guys, we get a commercial break. We get a commercial break, and I've been noticing a pattern. Every time we're watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta, we get Candy's commercial with KFC. Now, I don't know how Marlo must feel like that moment where Marlo, she's the one who actually bought the KFC, and for Candy to say something so clever in her confessional to book her this gig, man. Not only her a gig, her son a gig too. Two checks. Two checks. So it's amazing to see that KFC saw an opportunity and take it. And hey, KFC, if you see an opportunity here, you could take it. You could take it. You could take it. I'll do like a mukbang. A mukbang. Would you guys like to see me do a mukbang? That would be kind of fun. Epic. So we then move on to a scene after commercial break finish. After Candy cleared her check, we get a scene with Kenya, and she's being a boss, y'all. And I was like proud of her, but then frustrated for her in that moment because she was talking to her team, and her team was just not getting it right. And I was a little bit taken back by the level of professionalism. I feel like her team member, the one who was working on the graphics for the packaging of her new bottle, was not doing what he was supposed to do. And the response when he sent back and said that no, when she said, oh, this image is not good, it's not the right sizing, for him to respond and say, come on, I already did it, I already looked at it. No, if it's not good, if it is not up to par what was requested, you have to continue working on it. That's what you paid to do. And I was like, oh my god, Kenya, I could never. But Kenya says that she has a soft heart, especially working with young people. And I'm like, that soft heart gonna cost a couple of checks, and you don't want that at all. So Kenya, 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 Kenya. So we get a little FaceTime moment with Kenya and Moneta. Moneta, she said, this season y'all gonna see me. Y'all gonna see me enough that I have a place at the reunion couch. Okay, make some room, take some notes. So Kenya's having a FaceTime with Moneta, and Kenya, she has a big charity event that's gonna happen shortly, and Moneta is the perfect person to help choreograph her routine so Kenya can transform to Beyonce. So I'm super happy because it's been quite some time since we got Beyonce into the scene. So I was very excited to learn that, and that's coming up in a later episode. So now over to Candy Coated Click. Okay, so Candy and Don Juan, they're doing a meeting, and I'm inspired by Candy because you see Candy hustle. So her and Don Juan, they're creating a list of things to do weekly that must get done. Like it has to get done. It has to be done. So the list is long. The list is she has to do a live show. She has to do a podcast. She has to do award shows. She has events that week. Charity, her daughter's birthday is coming up. Portia's wedding. The restaurant affairs, she's making it. She's having a new restaurant being built and whatever. And on top of that, you have to remember Todd's movie. Todd's movie, Todd's movie, Todd's movie. Girl, I feel like it's like do or die when it comes to Todd's movie because I feel like that doesn't affect just business wise, but relationship wise. And that is so scary, so scary, so scary. I'm rooting for our girl Candy, but Candy, you got this, girl. So Candy, she wants to be executive producer in Todd's project, but she realized it's gonna require a lot of effort that she would devote to for that role. And Todd and Candy, they are both also producing a Broadway show. So this is setting up Candy to get her EGOT, and that's gonna be super amazing because the only person who is black that has an EGOT that is also a woman is Miss Whoopi Goldberg. So if Candy Bruce gets this award, I know all the other girls gonna be mad. They're gonna be really mad because if they were already mad, they're gonna be really mad. So yeah, guys, I just think Todd and Candy, they just work so well together. They motivate each other. They are not complacent. which is why I'm inspired to continue to push, 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 and not be comfortable. So, given that, and just thinking about that, it just reminds me back over to Mama Joyce. I'm like, Mama Joyce, why? That's why I want to keep on emphasizing that Mama Joyce is just doing this because it's a gimmick, y'all. She's getting paid to tell you guys what you guys want to hear. So I do not buy the fact that Mama Joyce feels that Todd is not good enough for her daughter. I feel like, the bull is not the real bull. It's what's cashing the checks, okay? So Don Juan and Candy, they talk about the whole situation in BravoCon. And pretty much we see how, Mama Joyce was on a panel, and I feel like BravoCon set up Mama Joyce for that. Because why would you ask Mama Joyce, who would you want Candy to be with, as if she is single? She's not single. She's married. She has kids with the man. They're very much together. So, of course, what made the situation really bad is the fact that Todd's daughter, Kayla, was the one to send the video of what went down, the bull. So, this is bad because Candy didn't even get to talk to Todd about it or give him a heads up. Like, damn, that's embarrassing. So I'm thinking, yikes, and I'm just wondering, are we really gonna get to sit down with Mama Joyce and Candy having this talk? Because I feel like this is a talk that you have off camera. Say, Mama, we can't do those jokes anymore. That's actually quite hurtful, and it's not helping the situation. Okay, we don't need to give them this reason to talk about. Okay, so and also we already know that Candy is not gonna be harsh on her mom. That's her mom. Even if our mom do bad, I don't feel like, you can be really harsh, or embarrassing, especially in front of all these people, the cameras, the production crew. No, 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 no. Probably behind the scenes, yeah, you say, Mama, you can't do that. You check your mom, da 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 da. You run her your rights. You say you've grown. But in front of everybody, especially Marlo and those haters who don't necessarily like Candy, no, not gonna get that kind of energy at all. So then we get a scene over to Drew and Ralph home, and they are, preparing for their guest, Miss Courtney. And I'm like, a scene with Courtney. I don't think I'm a fan of Courtney, guys. Do you guys like Courtney? Let me know. I feel like, does she? No, I don't want it. But anyways, she's coming over because, her cousin is Ralph, and Drew wanted to actually take the time to meet her and get to know her. So they hired a chef who's gonna be making a family dinner for them all. So Drew, she FaceTime Candace Dillard from the Real Housewives of Potomac that I do recap. Didn't like the season, but we recapped it anyway. So if you want to see it, there's a whole playlist. Check it out. So Candace, she tells Drew that, she's touring right now and she's actually in her city. And she did have a special guest, Miss Shamari DeVoe, but she was unable to, participate. So she's calling Drew to ask Drew if she would like to be her special guest. Of course, Drew is over the moon excited because, she wants to get back into singing. So to get back into singing and you kind of get her toes a little wet, she's more than excited to be a part of this production. So they're gonna work things out. So we're gonna see later in the episode. Actually, I was shocked how soon it was because I thought the way it was said, I didn't knew how last minute it was. If someone want to ask me something last minute like that, I don't know. I don't think if I really like singing and singing is my thing and I want to get into my bag with singing, yeah, I'm not gonna say no. I will go in the last minute. I feel like that was super last minute. Like, what if Drew has something to do? Drew, you don't got nothing else to do. You just on call last minute. Especially the way it came out the end. Oh, that was too last minute. But anyways, if she's happy, I'm happy. Go Drew. So Courtney finally arrives and she brings her ex partner Bryce. And the way Drew was looking at him, I'm thinking, did you date the man? Like, how do you know him? How do you know him? Because I'm gonna know. Is it gonna be more messy? Like, where's the mess? I'm here for the mess. And what we learn is that pretty much Bryce is her what did she call it? Her movie partner from back in the day, 10 years ago. So they have worked together, they have filmed together and stuff like that. So now they were not in a relationship, they were not in an entanglement 10 years ago. Okay. So what we did also learn is that Courtney, she has a 24-year-old daughter. And Ralph was surprised he didn't know she even had kids. So like, what did you guys talk about when you guys met? Like, come on, don't you bring up you have kids? So Bryce, you guys may recognize him from being in a group called Group Theory. So I just, was taking in that moment, taking in Courtney and the whole situation. And I was like, man, Courtney got too much energy for me, y'all. Too much energy for me. I was like, the scene was so busy. And, they're all settling in, getting ready for dinner. And Drew thought it was the perfect time to call Candy. And the reason why she wanted to call Candy is because she wanted to share and invite Candy. Well, Candy was already going to be there. She wanted to let Candy know that she's going to be singing. She's going to be part of the performance. But why you have to like have Courtney there for that? Even Courtney knew better to say, okay, I'm going to go over that way. And then when Candy picks up on the FaceTime, Drew has everyone say hi, especially Courtney. Say, Courtney, say hi to Candy. I mean, Candy don't like the woman. Candy don't like the woman. Even Candy didn't fake the funk. Her face said it all. Her face was like, mm, no, 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 no. I live for Courtney. I live for Candy. No, sorry. I live for Candy. Candy, she did not fight the funk. She held the funk. The funk was on her face. Okay. So I just thought Drew was just being so messy. And they all are having dinner, and I thought the highlight of the scene was the food because the food gave kudos to the chef. The chef did their job. But at the end, they really talk about how, the whole issue with Drew and Sanya comes from them on Sanya unfollowing her. I just thought that was so dumb. I was like, okay, cut scene, end scene. Let's end scene. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Not much happened in that scene, but I'm gonna call it, and it was a wrap. Okay. So we also get another filler scene. I was like, ugh, I hate a filler scene. So we get a scene of Marlo being an aunt. And I really actually didn't like this scene at all. The reason why I didn't like this scene because I felt like again Marlo is trying to have the kids kind of compliment and help her image a little bit. I feel like this is a pretty much image recoup type of situation, and it feel kind of like pushy in a way, like say something nice in front of the camera about me, please. I just did not like the scene, and that's why cut. That could have been cut. We could have left that on the editing floor. That could have been cut. Okay, so now we're over at Candace rehearsals, and Drew. She shows up and she's getting ready. She's dressed. She's wearing her Fendi prints on, and she's ready to perform. So I'm thinking, okay, she's really gonna be a part of this whole situation. So it's the main event, and everyone shows up. Everyone is invited. Marlo's invited. Candy's gonna be in the same room. All the ladies are invited except Sheree. She says she's under the weather, but we know that wasn't true. That was not true. So we're gonna have Candy in the same room with Courtney and Marlo, and it's just gonna be a mess. So when Marlo arrived to the party, it was so interesting. You saw Kenya, Maniera, and Candy and Sanya, like pretty much on one side, and no, wait, Sanya. I don't think Sanya was there yet. I don't think Sanya was there yet, but they were not really messing with Marlo. Marlo felt like she was on an island by herself. They don't really acknowledge her, and I can feel that's kind of mean because it's hard to be in a group of girls, group of ladies, and you're the only one that's the outcast. That's hard. I didn't like that, especially when my motto is to share kindness as much as possible, and I'm like that's not as much as possible. So I felt bad for Marlo in that moment. And Courtney, she arrives, and then Marlo finally feels like, oh, she has someone to talk to because now, she could like talk to someone. And I was feeling for her. And I was like, this is awkward. And the girls, they're just they're not commenting. It's not much of a scene, and I felt like it was kind of awkward to watch. So we get to the performance, and Candice is performing, and it was giving Beyonce tease. They couldn't play all the songs that she was singing, but we did see the song Drive Back being performed. That's the one that was approved by Bravo. Bravo only had the budget, only had the license to play that song, and that's it. Okay. So I felt like I like when they perform, but I kind of don't because it takes away from the viewers of things to go on and happen. And also, we didn't really get to hear much if Bravo didn't pay the licensing for the other songs to be played. We only heard Drive Back, but we already heard it how many hundred times? We heard it on Girls Trip. We heard it on this season on the Real House of Potomac. Last season of Real House of Potomac. We done. We need a new song. Okay, we want to hear this song. So it was Drew's turn to come on, and I felt like that was cute. That was cute. She had a small part, but it was her part. They cannot take that away from her. When it was over, the girls were so shady. The girls were so shady. They said, "I thought we were gonna be here for a performance. Like, why would you call everyone just for a small part?" Like, really? And then we had the producers being shady. The shady producers. That's what y'all really did that. So y'all really did that. I saw what you guys did. They showcased Sanya's race time, her sprint time, being longer. And you know that girl is fast. She is fast. Being longer than Drew's performance. Okay, y'all did that. Y'all did that. Y'all did that. But I was happy that in this scene that we got Drew's husband bringing her flowers. Even though it was something small, I was so proud to see that these two at least tried to make the relationship work, and it was cute. I buy what you guys are selling in this scene. I believe it. So the girls go backstage and they celebrate, and they celebrate, but then we get into the mess. So we talked about BravoCon. Drew, Tanya, she brings up, no, okay, so first, Tanya, she was so sweet. She gave Drew her accolades and say that, that her performance, her part was quite lovely, but over to BravoCon, the mess was not necessary, it was not needed. And Drew, she shut it down real quick. And I'm like, Drew, I don't buy this. Jewel, she knows when to start it off and to shut it down. I don't buy that these two have settled their beef at all. I feel like we want to hear this again and again and again and again and again. But why it turned into now let's reverse and talk about Candy and Courtney and calling each other ghetto. And now it's like, okay, this again. Nothing was resolved. Those two are not gonna like each other. They don't have to like each other. They are grown. Not needed. Oh, that was such a filler situation. But then, Candy, she, it was fair that Candy said to Courtney that you can't like call people ghetto, like real people, come out from those situations. There's nothing to look down upon. Okay, so the highlight of this was the jump scene to the men because all they cared about is they asked Chris, "Do you guys get down with the 1,000 mile bus club?" Which is a I didn't know about this. I know the Mile High Club, but now we're talking about the 1,000 miles bus club. I was like, okay, producers making the situation light. I dig it. But then why we jump back? See, we didn't have. I'd rather hear from the guys. I'd rather hear from the guys. We jump back, scene back to the ladies, and we pretty much address everyone's beef. Like everyone wants to talk about their beef because then we talk about Manetta and Marlo's beef. I'm like, okay, Manetta. Everyone has Manetta back. Manetta, if you are not at the reunion with your spot sitting like, yeah. If you're not, girl, I don't know what it's gonna take, but I didn't want this from Manetta. I feel like against Marlo, you don't need to, if you want a spot, go against that Kenya. Make it mess up Kenya's dance routine. We do get to see that in the preview. Okay. Manetta, you really trying. You trying to be a housewife. You trying to have a peach next season. I foresee that for you. So now, after that beef was addressed, we then get to Drew bringing up the incident that happened at Candy's. And Marlo is like, call it what you want to call it, but it was a shooting. So it became a whole beef that I didn't even know about. At least I didn't follow. I don't follow this type of stuff. But pretty much Marlo, she wants to put down Candy, make her talk about things that she don't want to talk about. So Candy do a reverse Uno and brings up stuff that Marlo doesn't necessarily want to talk about, which is how she cut a girl's face. And Marlo, she addressed it in her confessional. She said that happened 23 years ago. That's my past. That I live in my past. I'm like, you cut someone 23 years ago in the face? Ooh. Not in the face. Not in the face. Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. So, anywho, Drew, the one who stirred up the drama, wanted to say, guys, this is a night of music. Let's end it. So they rapped. And when you thought things were done, 30 minutes after, there was a whole situation with Drew and Marlo going at each other. I guess Marlo was just thinking about, her nephew who passed away due to gun violence. And it could have been a whole situation where when Drew brought up that situation to Candy, it brought up emotions with Marlo. And Marlo, I can sense that Marlo wasn't feeling the support from the group. But she said the girls knew that she was going through a death. And everyone, she said people are pretending like it didn't happen. Like specifically, she has an issue with that with Candy. Because she said, we saw the footage that she was talking about the situation to Candy, and Candy didn't understand or didn't know, but probably I don't even want to give an excuse to that because Marlo did send a text message telling her that, and Candy did send her condolences. So, ooh, that's a tough situation. I guess we'll find out more about that next episode. But they end the scene like that, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. That's harsh. If she's going like seriously going through grief, she needs counseling. Like that's not the reality I want to see. I don't know if you guys want to see that, but I think that needs to be handled more privately. Mm-mm. But anywho, that was the recap. We did get to see the preview, and I'm excited for next week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta because we see Kenya just explode because she don't play about Brooklyn. She don't play about Brooklyn. So to see Kenya with her hair behind the door yelling at whoever was banging, which was Marlo, I can't wait to see that moment. I can't wait to see that moment. So, guys, if you like this recap, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate every one of you. And as always, share as much kindness as possible. Peace and have a good week. Ooh, that looked like I did not stick a middle finger at you guys. I did peace, but it only captured this. Okay, guys, take care and have a good one. And stay tuned. I'm going to have more recaps coming up soon. Next up is Martha's Vineyard. Peace. Bye. Bye. Peace. This is real peace.